الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dear sweet Islam brothers, let's recite Durood and Salam. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. Excellence of reciting Durood and Salam when a Muslim conveys 1000 salutations upon the beloved Allah's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He will not die until he sees his maqam, his place in paradise. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In the book called To Righteousness on page 187, a disciple is strongly favored. We are continuing the topic where we left, inshaAllah. So dear Islamic brothers, the snake eats the frog, which is why that wise person fled as soon as he saw a frog, lest any chasing snake bites him. Sayyidina Shaykh Hasamuddin radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned this story as an example illustrating the point that though a saint himself may not be perfect, his preceding spiritual guides may well be perfect. Indeed, one who becomes the disciple of a perfect spiritual guide is strongly supported. No matter his immediate spiritual guide is not strong, the spiritual guide of his spiritual guide or the one preceding spiritual guide must be strong, which is the means of gaining blessings in the worldly life as well as the afterlife. Presented here is an excerpt containing some interesting and informative questions and answers taken from page 260 to 262 of the 504-page book Malfazat ala Hazrat, i.e. pieces of advice from Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh, published by Maktabatul Madina, the publishing department of Dawateislami. Listen, let's read them, refreshing your faith. Bayat. What does Bayat mean? Answer. Bayat means being sold. Ala Hazrat has stated, it is mentioned in the book Sabe Sanabil, that a person was sentenced by the king to be beheaded, or executioner drew the sword, but the person stood facing the direction of the tomb of his spiritual guide. The executioner said, one faces the direction of Qibla at this time. He said, do what you are ordered. I have faced my Qibla. What he said is true because the Kaaba is the Qibla of the body and the spiritual guide is that of the soul. This is the actual reverence of the disciple for his spiritual guide. One reverently and sincerely clinging to the door of his spiritual guide will certainly gain blessings. Even if his spiritual guide is not perfect, the spiritual guide of his spiritual guide would be perfect. Even if he is not perfect, His Grace Ghusi Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the fountain of blessings and a great source of spiritual light. His blessings will shower over his disciple. What is actually required is that the spiritual order should be correct, properly linked. Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala has narrated a parable in this regard. Let me narrate it in my own words. A beggar once reached a shop and asked the owner for a rupee, meaning for some money. The shopkeeper refused. The beggar threatened, give me the rupiah or I will throw all your goods out of your shop. People gathered around them to see what the matter was. Coincidentally, a high-ranking spiritual saint came there and said to the shopkeeper, give him the rupee instantly, or else your shop will be ruined. I had a look at his inner self to see whether he possesses some spiritual power or not, and found that he doesn't. I then saw his spiritual guide, who was also like him, but I found the spiritual guide of his spiritual guide to be from amongst the friends of Allah Azza wa Jal. I also saw him standing in wait to ruin your shop as soon as the beggar curses you. Narrating this parable, Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi stated that the beggar was a devoted disciple of his spiritual guide. Great religious scholars Rahmatullahi Ta'ala have stated, in the register of Sayyidina Ghawsi Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu are written the names of those who are and will become his disciples till the day of judgment. His Grace Sayyidina Ghawsi Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has stated, Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed upon me a register as vast as the one's vision, and the names of all those who would become my disciple till the day of judgment were written in it, and I was then told, all of them are gifted to you. Question, Your Grace, this is a type of blackmail. The high-ranking spiritual saint may have advised the shopkeeper to give him the money for the sake of protecting his shop, which seems to be acceptable, just as it is permissible to give bribes to remain safe from cruelty. But why did the spiritual guide of the beggar, spiritual guide, favored a cruelty? The ruling of Sharia applies to two types of condition, apparent condition and the inner ones. The judge and the public can only deal with the apparent matters and are bound to settle them accordingly, even though the ruling is quite different in the eyes of the one aware of the real matter. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. My dear Islam brothers, inshaAllah ta'ala, very soon we are approaching the next month, and 11th of December we are holding a graduation ceremony in Manchester. It is a Madani request that you book your seats for the coach and you travel with us, inshaAllah, and there will be some guests from Pakistan, Karachi, Babul Madina, our Nigrani Shura, Haji Imran Attari Salam Al-Bari, also with Abdul Habibai and Mufti Qasim. You will have the opportunity to do mulaqat with them, so do book your seats, inshaAllah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. قلت حيلتي أنت وسيلتي أدركني يا رسول الله لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, accept our Salat al-Zuhr, accept this short dars, Ya Allah Azza wa Jal. Give us the ability to combat with the Mir Ahl Sunnah Damat Barakatum Aliyah. And if we bat with another silsila, give us the ability to become Talib bat with the Amir Ahl Sunnah Damat Barakatum Aliyah. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, accept the du'as of the Hazreen Majlis. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, take away our difficulties, our parshaniya. Ya Allah, bless our household, our children. Protect them from sins, Ya Allah. Keep them on the path of deen, Ya Allah. Protect them from nazar-e-bad, evil eye. Ya Allah, protect them from any type of sahir. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, jinnat. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, and give them the ability to worship you. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, those students who are studying colleges, universities, schools, primary schools, Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, give them a good education in accordance with the human rights. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, bless them with the love of the sunnah of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Give them the ability to be respectful to their teachers, respectful to their parents, Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, and give them the ability to excel in deen and dunya. Those who are studying in Jamiatul Madina, grant them success. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, bless our students in Madrasatul Madina, grant them success. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, give us the ability and the enthusiasm to open the Quran, to read the Quran, and grant us the nur of Quran and the understanding of Quran. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, we always mention the benefits of Durood-e-Pak, but we struggle to recite Durood and Salam. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, give us ability and the jazba and the love to recite durood and salam upon the beloved and blessed Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Give us lazzat in our zaban, give us lazzat in our speeches, and give us the ability to do call to righteousness, inviting Islamic brothers from the streets towards the masjid. Ya Allah Azza wa Jal, those who are suffering from illnesses, elements and diseases, grant them shifa for the sake of Karbala. Grant all them students, children who are sitting at home at this minute, who have not gone to school today, who are not coming to madrasa for some reason. Ya Allah, grant all of them shifa. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.